August 19th, 1942. 11:37 a.m. Avast, a small, neat bungalow on Elm Street, East York, Toronto. The kitchen smells of fresh-baked bread and sunshine. Sarah Jenkins hums a little tune, a frivolous melody from a dance hall band. She's kneading dough on the floured countertop, her forearms dusted with white. The radio, tuned to CBC, is playing a news report. Something about the war in North Africa. She barely listens. The war, for Sarah, is a far-off drumbeat. It is the reason her handsome, laughing husband, Private Arthur Jenkins, is now somewhere in England with the Queen's Own Rifles of Canada. It is the reason her letters arrive in batches, weeks late, bearing the censor's mark. It is a dull ache in her heart, a constant worry, but not an immediate threat. Not here, in her sunlit kitchen, on Elm Street. Her 5-year-old daughter, Emily, is playing on the rug, arranging small, wooden blocks into a haphazard fortress. "Mama, the Germans are coming," she giggles, making explosion noises. "No Germans here, darling," Sarah says, smiling, pulling another loaf from the hot oven. Not on Elm Street. The doorbell rings. Ding-dong. It is not an urgent, frantic ring. It is a polite, ordinary sound. "I'll get it," Emily squeals, scrambling to her feet. "No, sweetie. Mama will get it," Sarah says, wiping her hands on her apron. "It's probably Mrs. Henderson from next door, coming to borrow some sugar. Or perhaps the paper boy." Early, she walks to the front door, still humming. She opens it. The sunshine, bright and innocent, streams onto her porch, and there, on her doorstep, stands a boy. He is perhaps 14, gangly in his ill-fitting uniform. A bicycle leans against her porch railing. He wears the cap of the Canadian Post Office. He is the Western Union telegram boy. He is holding a yellow envelope. For a split second, Sarah smiles, a little confused. A telegram. For her. Arthur wouldn't send a telegram. He sends letters, chatty, censored letters about the weather and the price of beer in Aldershot. Then, the smile dies. The boy's face. It is not the face of a normal paperboy. His eyes are too wide, too solemn. He looks scared. He looks like a child who has been forced to carry something impossibly heavy. He holds out the yellow envelope. His hand is trembling slightly. Sarah feels a sudden, profound cold. It starts in her stomach and races up her spine, into her teeth. The humming in her head stops. The scent of fresh bread vanishes. The sunlight seems to dim. She knows she does not need to open the envelope. She does not need to read the words printed on the flimsy yellow paper. She has seen the newsreels. She has heard the whispers. She has seen the face of Mrs. Henderson, 2 streets over. After the same boy had called on her. This boy, this uniform, this yellow envelope. This is not a delivery. This is a detonation. It is the moment. The moment every wife, every mother, every sister in Canada dreads. The moment that slices time into a before and after. She reaches out. Her fingers are numb. She takes the envelope. The paper is crisp, foreign. It feels cold. "Are you Mrs. Sarah Jenkins?" the boy asks, his voice barely a whisper, as if he is ashamed. Sarah just stares at him. She cannot speak. Her breath is trapped in her chest. She nods. A tiny, jerky motion of her head. The boy nods back. He turns. He gets on his bicycle. He does not say goodbye. He just pedals away. His small, hunched back a testament to the terrible burden he carries day after day, from house to house. He turns the corner and is gone. Sarah is left standing on her sunlit porch, the yellow envelope in her hand. Emily's innocent giggles drift from the kitchen. Mama, the Germans are coming. But the Germans are not coming. Something far worse has already arrived. Her hand, still trembling. Tears open the flap. The paper inside is thin. The typewritten words are stark, unforgiving. The Minister of National Defense regrets to inform you. Her eyes blur. She tries to focus. That your husband, Private Arthur Jenkins, service number BB6792, Queen's Own Rifles of Canada, has been officially reported killed in action. Killed in action. The words are just letters. They are too clean, too impersonal, too official. They do not convey the blood, the mud, the screams, the chaos of Dieppe, where the Queen's Own Rifles had just landed. They do not convey the fact that Arthur's laugh, his touch, his smell are gone, forever. Her legs give way. She falls to her knees on the porch, the yellow paper fluttering from her numb fingers. The smell of fresh-baked bread from her kitchen suddenly turns to ash in her mouth. The sunshine feels like a mockery. Emily's distant giggles are a knife. Her entire world, the neat, sunlit bungalow, the future she had carefully constructed in her mind, has just been reduced to rubble. Not by a bomb, but by a piece of paper, delivered by a child. She has no husband, Emily has no father, and Sarah Jenkins, on Elm Street, Toronto, realizes that the war has finally, terribly, come home. For a long minute, Sarah Jenkins does not move. She is a statue of a woman, kneeling on her own front porch in the bright, indifferent August sun. The world has gone silent. The sound of a car passing, the distant shout of children playing. It is all a dull, muffled roar, as if she is underwater. The only sound that cuts through is the crinkle of the yellow paper in her fist. Then another sound, sharp and clear. Mama, Mama, you fell down. Emily is standing in the doorway, her small face puckered with concern. She's holding one of her wooden blocks. The bread it smells funny. Mama, the bread, Arthur's favorite. The word bread is the lever that moves her. Sarah's body begins to function again, a machine separate from her mind. She gets up, her knees crack. She feels 1,000 years old. She looks at the telegram. It is not just paper. It is an object, a cursed thing, a piece of shrapnel that has flown 3,000 miles to find her heart. She walks back into her kitchen. The kitchen, her sanctuary, is now a stage set. It is a museum of a life that just ended. The 2 loaves, cooling on the rack, are a dark golden brown. Too dark. She was outside for too long. They are slightly burned. The radio is still playing, a jaunty, upbeat swing tune. The sound is a physical assault. It is obscene. She lunges at the radio and twists the knob. The music cuts off with a pop. The silence that floods the room is absolute, total, heavier than any bomb. It is the sound of after. Mama, you're scaring me. Emily's voice is a small, trembling thing. What's that paper? Sarah sinks into a kitchen chair, the one Arthur always sat in. She lays the yellow paper flat on the table, as if it is a proclamation. She smooths it with her flour-dusted hands, leaving white ghostly streaks on the official type. She stares at the words. Killed in action. How does she explain this? How does she take these two clean, adult words and make them true for a 5-year-old? How does she explain never? Emily! She starts. Her voice is not her own. It is a dry, rasping whisper. Emily. Darling. She cannot do it. She cannot form the sentence. She looks at her daughter. Her daughter, who has Arthur's bright, laughing eyes, his stubborn chin, and the control she has maintained, the brittle shield that got her from the porch to the kitchen, shatters. It is not a sob. It is not weeping. It is a sound she has never made before. A low, tearing wail that comes from her deepest center. The sound of a life being ripped in two. It is the sound of no. The wail frightens Emily more than any anger ever could. The child's face crumples. She doesn't know what is wrong, only that her mother, her rock, her entire world is broken. Emily bursts into tears. Mama, Mama, what is it? What's wrong? Sarah just rocks, back and forth, in Arthur's chair. She has pulled the telegram to her chest, clutching it like a wound. He's gone, she whispers to the empty room, to the slightly burned bread. Oh, God. Arthur. He's gone. He's not coming home. A soft knock, not the doorbell. A gentle, hesitant rap on the screen door. Sarah doesn't even look up. The screen door creaks open. It is Mrs. Henderson from next door. She is in her housecoat, her hair in pins. She holds a small cup of sugar. Sarah, I saw the boy on his bicycle. She steps into the kitchen. She sees Sarah rocking, wailing. She sees Emily crying in the corner. She sees the yellow envelope on the table. Mrs. Henderson does not ask what is wrong. She does not need to. She is a veteran of this. Her own nephew was lost on a Corvette in the Atlantic. She sets the sugar cup down, her face a mask of profound, weary compassion. She walks to Sarah. She doesn't speak. She just puts her hands on Sarah's shaking shoulders. That one. Simple, human touch is enough. Sarah collapses forward, her head falling onto Mrs. Henderson's shoulder, her grief pouring out. Oh, my dear girl. Mrs. Henderson murmurs, stroking her hair. Oh, my dear, dear girl. Which one? Arthur. Sarah chokes out. It's Arthur. He's... I know, Mrs. Henderson says. I know. She is here. She is the first of the home front army. The women who know how to absorb this shock, how to start the terrible, practical machinery of grief. She gently takes the burned loaves off the rack. This bread, she says, her voice practical, a strange anchor in the storm. It's still good? We'll just cut the bottoms. She goes to Emily, who is hiding by the icebox. Come, pop it, she says, her voice low. Let's go. Let's go find you a cookie. Let's let your mama have a moment to breathe. She steers the crying child out the back door, leaving Sarah alone in the deafening silence of her kitchen. She picks up the telegram. She forces her eyes to read the words, past the blur of her tears. Killed in action, August 19th, 1942. She looks at the calendar on the wall. the one from the butcher shop. It is August 19th. The realization is a new, physical blow. He is not just dead, he is dead today. He died this morning, as she was kneading dough, as Emily was playing, as the radio was playing that stupid, jaunty song. Arthur was... what? On a beach? Drowning, calling for her? She tries to picture Dieppe. She has never heard the name. It sounds French. Where is it? What happened? The official words are a cruel, sterile wall. They tell her everything and nothing. Her eyes fall on the small writing desk in the corner. On it sits a letter, stamped and sealed, addressed in her looping cursive. P.T. Arthur Jenkins, B67912, Queen's Own Rifles of Canada, EZO Canadian Army overseas. She wrote it last night. It is full of life. It tells him Emily has learned to whistle. It tells him the tomatoes in the garden are finally ripe. It tells him, hurry home, my love. I miss you so much. It is a letter to a dead man. The yellow paper in her hand is the truth. The letter on the desk is a lie. She understands now. The telegram boy didn't just bring news. He was a time traveler. He brought the end of her life into the middle of it. The future, the one with Arthur, the one with more children, the one with him coming home, a hero, is gone. It was all a dream. This silence, this kitchen, this burned bread, this is real. August 19th, 1942, 12:05 p.m. The kitchen, Elm Street. The sound of a kettle whistling. It is a sharp, domestic, normal sound, and it makes Sarah want to scream. Mrs. Henderson is moving quietly, efficiently. She's making tea. The act is a ritual, the universal response of the Canadian home front to a crisis. Make tea. Stay practical. You must drink this. Sarah, Mrs. Henderson says, her voice firm but not unkind. She places a steaming cup, laced with 3 spoonfuls of sugar, an extravagant wartime waste, on the table. You're in shock, my dear. Sarah looks at the tea. She is not in shock. She is in hell. Shock is what happens when you cut your finger. This is an amputation. She is now, officially, a war widow. The words form in her mind, cold and clinical. It is a title, a status, a new terrible box to be ticked on a government form. She looks at the yellow telegram, still on the table. It is her new identity card, the Minister of National Defense. She is now the responsibility of a man in Ottawa she has never met. She will receive a pension, she supposes, a check, a gratuity, blood money paid in neat monthly installments. And then, the effects, the thought hits her with a fresh physical sickness. Arthur's things, his paybook, his razor, his letters, the ones she wrote to him, the ones she filled with mundane, loving details about Emily in the garden. Will they come back in a box, a canvas bag, stenciled with his name and number? She pictures his kit bag, and her mind, unbidden, supplies the image of it being wet, stained with salt water. Dieppe. The name echoes in her head. Where is it? Where is it, Agnes? Sarah whispers, her voice raw. Where is what, dear? Mrs. Henderson asks, pausing her sweeping of the floor. She is cleaning. giving her hand something to do. Dieppe, the telegram. It says Dieppe. Where is it? Mrs. Henderson stops. Her face, a moment ago, a mask of grim practicality, tightens. Oh, Sarah, she says, her voice low. You don't know. Know what? It's on the radio. All morning. I thought you were listening. Mrs. Henderson turns and, with a fatalistic slowness, walks to the radio. She turns the knob. The silence is broken. Not by music, but by the voice of a CBC announcer. His tone grave, somber. Mirarim. We can now confirm a major operation has taken place on the coast of occupied France. A large-scale raid, primarily involving Canadian troops. Tudkatbauster reports are still unconfirmed, but the objective is believed to be the port town of Dieppe. Sarah stares at the radio. France. He was in France. She thought he was in England, in a camp, training. He was in an invasion. Morer, initial reports from the ministry indicate that our forces have met with... The announcer hesitates, as if he cannot bring himself to say the words. With heavy, determined resistance. Casualties are expected to be significant. Turn it off, Sarah whispers. What, dear? Turn it off, she shrieks, lunging from her chair. She slams her hand down on the knob, silencing the voice. Significant casualties. That is the polite, broadcast word for Arthur. He is not a husband. He is a significant casualty. The radio is a liar. The whole war is a lie. It is not posters of smiling soldiers on ships. It is not V for victory. It is not newsreels of parades. It is this. A kitchen, a yellow piece of paper, and a voice on the radio. Calmly, clinically, describing the place where her husband just ceased to exist. She has to tell Arthur's mother. This new thought is so horrifying, so paralyzing, that she stumbles back to the chair. His mother, who lives in Rosedale. His mother, who never truly thought Sarah was good enough for her boy. His mother, who will be sitting in her own living room, perhaps knitting socks for him, blissfully, agonizingly unaware. The telegram boy came to Sarah, the wife, the next of kin. It is her job to take this bomb, this piece of shrapnel, and deliver it to his mother. The telephone, black and silent on the wall, seems to throb with menace. Agnes, Sarah says, her voice a flat, dead thing. I have to call. I have to tell Mary. No. Mrs. Henderson says, her voice absolute. You will not. Not like this. Not on the telephone. I will go and get the minister. He will drive you. You do not. You do not do this alone. I am alone. Sarah says, and the truth of it, the vast, echoing, permanent aloneness of her new life, hits her. She is 24 years old. She is a widow. She has a 5-year-old child, and as if on cue, the back door creaks open. Emily peers in, her face clean of tears. Mrs. Henderson's cookie is clutched in her hand. Mama? Emily asks, her voice small. Are you better now? Sarah looks at her daughter. Her daughter, who is still before. Her daughter, who does not know. She has to do it. She cannot wait for the minister. She cannot wait for the right time. The world has ended, and Emily is still playing in it. Come here, Poppet, Sarah says, her voice breaking. She pats her lap. Emily, hesitant, walks over and climbs into her mother's lap. Fitting her small, warm body into the space that Arthur used to call his spot, Sarah buries her face in Emily's hair. It smells of sunshine and sugar. She holds her, rocking, for a long minute. Emily! She starts, her voice thick. Do you remember Daddy? In his uniform, on the train? With the big, shiny buttons, Emily says, brightening. Is Daddy coming home? Did the paper say Daddy is coming home? The question is a bright, innocent sword. It pierces the last of Sarah's defenses. She pulls back, cupping Emily's small, hopeful face in her hands. She has to find the words. She has to say the never, darling. The paper is from the king. The king? Wow. Yes. And the king says that Daddy was very, very brave. He was in a big fight for all of us. Did he win? Emily asks. Sarah's breath hitches. Yes, darling. He won. So he's coming home. No, my love. And here it is. The final, terrible, necessary word. Daddy he's gone. Emily, he had to go away, to be with the angels. Emily's face just shows confusion. To church? Why? I want him to come home. He can't come home. Darling. Sarah is weeping openly now, the tears dripping onto Emily's cheeks. He's not. He's never coming home. The child's face crumples. Not because she understands never. She does not. But she understands that the word gone has broken her mother. She understands that the world is no longer safe, and as mother and daughter cling to each other, two pieces of wreckage in a sunlit kitchen, Sarah Jenkins finally, truly, accepts the telegram's terrible arithmetic. Her world is no longer 3. It is 2. August 19th, 1942. 14:15 p.m., Elm Street, Toronto. The minister's car, a black Ford sedan, is parked outside. Reverend Miller had arrived, summoned by Mrs. Henderson. He is a kind man, his face etched with a practiced solemnity. He has done this before, and he will do it again. He sits at the kitchen table, his hat in his hands, speaking in low, comforting tones about God's will and a hero's sacrifice. Sarah hears none of it. The words are a dull drone, like the Luftwaffe engines she hears in the newsreels. They are noise, meant to cover the silence. Mrs. Henderson has taken Emily outside to look at the tomatoes, a blessed, temporary reprieve. Sarah, the minister says, his voice gentle. We must go and see Mary, Arthur's mother. It is right that she hears it from you. Not from a telephone call. The duty, the next terrible task. Sarah nods. She feels nothing. She is a machine, moving through a required set loop. She stands. The room tilts. She puts a hand on the back of Arthur's chair. It is no longer Arthur's chair. It is just a chair, to steady herself. She walks to the front door. She steps out onto the porch. into the sunlight that still dares to shine. And the world knows this is the first shocking realization of her new life. The telegram boy's visit was not a private event. It was a public proclamation. Mrs. Gable, across the street, is frozen. She was watering her hydrangeas. The hose is still running, pooling around her shoes. She is staring, not at Sarah, but at Sarah's house, which has now become a place of death. Her hand is over her mouth. Two boys, playing catch down the street, stop. They see the minister. They see Sarah's face. They go quiet, their game forgotten. The entire street is holding its breath. Sarah Jenkins is no longer Sarah. She is the widow Jenkins. She is poor Sarah. She is the physical embodiment of the news. She is a walking telegram. She gets into the minister's car. The plush seat feels hot. The drive to Rosedale is a journey through a dream. The city is obscene in its normalcy. A streetcar, packed with people, rumbles past. Men in suits are coming back from lunch. Two women are laughing, window shopping for hats. They do not know. Their worlds are all still before. Sarah watches them, a ghost in the passenger seat. She has crossed a line they cannot see. She is on the other side of the yellow envelope. The car pulls up to the large brick house. Mary Jenkins is home. The lawn is perfect. The flowers are immaculate. A house untouched by war. Sarah's job is to bring the war here. She is the bomb. I will come with you. The minister says, no. Sarah says, her voice a dry rasp. This is family. I must do it. She walks up the stone path. Each step is a hammer blow. She's carrying the curse. The boy gave it to her, and now she must give it to Mary. She rings the bell. A moment later, the door swings open. Mary Jenkins stands there, her silver hair perfectly coiffed. She's smiling. A bright, polite, society smile. Sarah, what a lovely surprise. I was just putting the kettle on. Is Emily in the car? The smile falters. She sees Sarah's face. She sees the red, raw-rimmed eyes. She sees the absence of a child. She sees the look of the end of the world. Mary's hand, wearing Arthur's grandmother's ring, flies to her own throat. No. Mary whispers. It is not a question. It is a plea. Oh, God, no. The boy came. Sarah chokes out. The words are all she can offer. No. Mary says again, louder, her eyes wide with a sudden animal terror. Not Arthur, not my Arthur. He's in England. He's safe. Sarah just shakes her head. The movement is tiny, but it is a scythe. It cuts down Mary's entire world. The telegram, Sarah whispers. And the word is enough. Mary Jenkins's knees buckle. She doesn't fall. She just folds. Sarah lurches forward, catching her mother-in-law, and the two women who had spent years in a polite, strained truce are now just two halves of the same shattered heart. They stumble into the ornate foyer, clinging to each other, their shared wail of Arthur echoing off the polished hardwood. Sarah has delivered the message. The curse has been passed. The grief has been shared. And in doing so, it has only terribly been multiplied. August 19th, 1942, 17:30 p.m. The drive home. The minister's car is quiet on the return journey, save for the sound of the engine, Sarah left Mary Jenkins in a house that was quickly filling with the machinery of upper-class grief. Mary's sister had been called. Her own minister was on his way. The two women had separated, each retreating to her own corner to nurse the same fatal wound. Now, Sarah is a ghost, watching the city of Toronto slide by. The afternoon light is golden, soft. The golden hour, Arthur used to call it. He liked to take photographs. She sees a group of young men in uniform, laughing on a street corner, waiting for a streetcar. They are so young, so alive. They're khaki crisp. One of them looks like Arthur from a distance. The same broad shoulders. Sarah flinches, turning her head away. A fresh, sharp pain in her chest. The world is full of boys who are not Arthur. The minister pulls up to the bungalow on Elm Street. "Will you be all right, Sarah?" he asks, his voice full of a genuine, weary concern. "I can have my wife come and sit with you." "No," Sarah says. Her own voice is a stranger's, flat and hard. "No, I have Emily. I must." She gets out of the car. She walks up her own porch steps. The steps she scrubbed that morning. The porch where she fell. The house is quiet. But it is a different quiet. It is not the peaceful silence of an empty, waiting home. It is the hollow, echoing silence of a tomb. She steps inside. Mrs. Henderson, a true soldier, has been busy. The kitchen is immaculate. The burned bread is gone. The teacups are washed and dried. The floor is swept. But the telegram, the yellow paper, is still on the table, right where Sarah left it. A single, defiant piece of evidence. Mrs. Henderson knew she could not, must not, move that. A note is propped against the sugar bowl. "Sarah, she was exhausted. I put her to bed. I've left a casserole in the icebox for you both. Don't you worry about a thing. We are all here. Agnes." Sarah walks, as if in a trance, to Emily's small bedroom. She stands in the doorway. Her daughter is asleep, her face pink and scrubbed of tears, her breathing deep and even. She's clutching her wooden blocks, not her tin soldier. Her world is, for this one night, safe. Sarah pulls the door almost closed, leaving a small crack. She is alone. She walks into her own bedroom, their bedroom. This is the hardest room. Everything is Arthur. His hairbrush is on the dresser, a few of his dark hairs still caught in the bristles. His pair of worn civilian shoes are kicked neatly under the chair. His smell, a faint, masculine scent of shaving soap and wool, clings to the pillowcase next to hers. She picks up the silver-framed photograph from their wedding day. Arthur, ridiculously handsome in his rented suit, his face split by that wide, infectious grin. Her, so young, so hopeful. Her eyes fixed only on him. This is the man of paper and memory. The man in the photo. The man on the yellow telegram. The two cannot exist in the same world. The photograph is a lie. It is a promise that has been retroactively broken. The telegram is the truth. She looks at the empty space beside her in the double bed. She has to sleep there, alone, tonight and tomorrow night. And for the next 50 years, the scale of it, the vast, barren expanse of time without him, stretches before her. The telegram boy didn't just bring news of a death. He brought her death, the death of Mrs. Arthur Jenkins. A new woman, a widow, has been born. And Sarah does not know her. She does not know how to be her. She walks back to the kitchen, the photograph in her hand. She sits at the table in the failing light. She places the wedding photo on the table. Next to it, she places the telegram, the vibrant, laughing man, the cold, typewritten words, killed in action. This is her new world. A world where she must learn to live with a ghost. A world where the sound of a bicycle on the street will forever make her heart stop. A world where home is no longer a place of safety, but a place of memory. A museum of a life that was. The sun has now set. The kitchen is dark. Sarah does not turn on the light. She just sits, staring at the two pieces of paper, the two irreconcilable truths, as the long first night begins.